going, guys? Welcome back to the website. I'm Kevin Muller. I'm the movie guy here. And last video I did, we concluded the Seven with Kevin segment where I caught up with most of the movies that I wanted to see throughout 2023 that I missed in the theaters. And we are done. And now this is the first list I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to get the crappy stuff out of the way because I can't wait to talk about the incredible stuff. With the bad video, the worst of 2023, I have my trusty Labatt Blue beer, fantastic beer. I wish I had some of these throughout, the entirety of these movies. Anyway, let's get to it. Now, number 10 is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And with my number 10 pick, every year, the number 10 spot, represents a film I didn't hate like the other nine. I think of it more as a disappointment, and I really can't think of a better film to place in this number 10 spot. Let me tell you something. Harrison Ford is just getting too old for this stuff. Yes, he has the swagger, he has the coolness of Indiana Jones, but that's kind of changed here too. But the fact is, the guy can't jump around anymore. He can't fight. The guy's like in his 80s. So, in the result of that, we really have some terrible CGI covering everything from action sequences, movements. It just takes you out of it because you know and you remember Harrison Ford doing all this stuff by himself, and having constant CGI use this distracts and pulls you out of the film. Phoebe Waller-Bridge was fine. I didn't hate her. I remember hearing a lot of bad press about her when I went into this thing. She does her thing. She's a girl boss. That's cool, but she does not have 15% of the swagger that Ford has. And there was a rumor that this movie had multiple endings, and one ending she was going to take over as the new ending of Indiana Jones. Hell no, hell no. Thank God that did not happen. Um, it just wouldn't work. Indiana Jones is Harrison Ford, and that's just how it's going to be. I would hate it if they rebooted this or recast it. Just leave it alone. Let it die. Let it die. But on the going back to the reshoots, there are reshoots entirely throughout this thing, and it cheapens it. That ending was tacked on. I will die on that hill. That ending was shot. I felt like maybe about a month before the movie came out, and it's just a movie that's all over the place. It recycles themes and ideas and everything else from older Indiana Jones films. I just wish Disney would stop. As I said before, please, please put this character to rest. And I'm sorry, this is number 10. All right, getting to the bad stuff. All right. Speaking of a franchise that should die, it is my number 9 pick, The Expendables 4. When this thing first started, like getting kicked off, like it was amazing. Every action star from my childhood was in one big movie, and they're all kicking ass together. So sometimes there was an action star from the 80s playing a villain, like Jean-Claude Van Damme did. But now it's dwindled down to nothing. It's dwindled down to everything that the first film wasn't. It's now lame. It's cheesy. It's dad humor. It's just not fun anymore. It's tiring. Everyone besides Jason Statham, who is doing incredible work here, he's carrying the movie. Everyone else sucks. That includes Megan Fox. I don't know why Megan Fox was one of the leaders of the cell or the group or whatever. Um, I just I don't see the appeal in her. Like she's pretty, but I just don't see the performance. Like there's nothing good about her performance. I did not buy her as one of the group the entirety of the movie. There was a 2021 movie called Till Death, and that movie she's very good in. If you haven't seen that movie, please go check it out. It is way better than this. Check that movie out before you check this one out, because the biggest crime that this film commits is Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa plays the villain in this movie. Tony Jaa is from the Raid 1, the Raid 2. Guy kicks ass. Guy can hold his own. I was waiting for a big, gigantic fight with him and Jaden Statham. Nope, they completely wasted him. He's not really memorable in the film at all. And this is, above all else, why this movie sucks. And it's my number 9 pick. And again, The Expendables 4 lands at number 9. We have another franchise at number 8. Listen, I am a big fan of the original, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Yes, it's cheesy. Yes, it has sitcom humor, but it has heart. And I kind of like the screenplay, which was nominated back in 2000, 2003 for best screenplay. It was a very strong screenplay. It had a number of characters, some witty dialogue. As these movies have gone on, they've gotten worse. They gotten cheesier. The humor just has gotten more grating and lost its charm and innocence. And it's no better here. It's actually really terrible. I was at a dinner with my family, and one of my cousins, who's she's just a casual movie going person, and she said to me, "He's like, oh my god, have you seen? I know you watch everything, Kevin. Have you seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3?" I'm like, yeah, it was terrible. She's like, oh my god, me too. All my friends loved it. It's kind of a nice moment for number eight. This pick, but this movie sucks. Please avoid it. And this is another thing. Please put this to rest. All right, it's becoming a theme of the list. Yeah. So number eight is My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Here we have for number seven, Spinning Gold. Tim Bogart's father, Neil, was the founder at Casablanca Records. Kiss, a lot of big bands that I'm forgetting right now, but Donna Summer too. This guy basically produced, made the records, made millions, cemented so many legacies. This guy should have a great biopic about his struggle from nothing to getting everything. And Jeremy Jordan isn't bad. I liked him. He is giving his all. You can tell, like, he's like, I'm the lead in the movie. I can sing, can dance. I'm going to show these people what I can do, and he does a pretty good job, but not an amazing job because the script sucks. Everything sucks about this movie. It has no heart. All the icons of music, as I said, Kiss and Donna Summer, are played by actors that do not have any of the charisma that those people have. And yes, they're not the main focus of the story, but if you're going to try to sell me on this movie, let me feel the energy of those musical icons. But the worst thing this movie does is recreate old classic places with really bad green screen. There are a couple of scenes where it's supposed to be maybe New York City in the 70s. Parts of the city are very different now. And in this specific scene, is standing in the city and it's supposed to be back in the day. Looks awful. You could tell they're in front of a green screen. And it is one of the many problems I have with this movie. It is boring. And most of all, it didn't honor such a musical legend. And I know Tim Bogart, the director and writer, Son of Neil, did his best. I admire his effort because this probably was not an easy movie to make, but it doesn't excuse crap. And I'm sorry, this one is staying here at number seven. Finally, something that's original. We have Freelance. It is a movie with John Cena, Allison Brie that came out. It was like an action romance kind of movie. Nothing works. The action sequences are lame. The humor is terrible. And one of the big gripes I had with this movie was, John Cena and Allison Brie, they could do comedy with their eyes closed. John Cena, great in Peacemaker. Allison Brie, Community. I'm rewatching it now. I'm really noticing how great she is in that show. If I was to see this movie for the first time and I didn't know who these people were, I'd be like, oh, okay, so I guess they have no careers anymore because this movie makes them look bad. And that is an impossible feat. It's kind of like crazy that it makes Cena and Brie look bad. I will give it one shout out, and I did say this in the review a few videos back that Alice's short little scene very effective. You'll know the scene when I see it when you see it, but definitely look out for that. But number six is Freelance. The destruction of my childhood. My number five pick, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yeah, apparently a lot of our childhood icons are going to be getting violence, grotesque horror movies. I guess that is a thing. And if they're anything like this movie, it's gonna be a really bad streak of films because this is cheaply made, terribly acted, uh, very takes itself very seriously, and the lore that what they do with the lore of Winnie the Pooh to justify the killing, I I guess that passed some type of writer's room. But even the kills aren't really cool in this movie, and the acting, the writing is so bad. Like you don't really care about anything that's going on. Yeah. So that's really it. It's just a hollow exercise of brainless activity, and it's landing at number five. This movie was the first god awful thing that I saw in 2023. I vividly remember walking out of the Meg 2, The Trench, saying, "Yep, this one is number one so far, and I don't think it's gonna leave top 10. It may drop, but it's not gonna leave. I kind of like the first Meg. It's really stupid, but it was tongue in cheek. This one is a mess. They took everything that you're not supposed to do with a sequel, and they do it here. First off, you're getting two movies. You're getting like a Jason Statham movie, even though the movie is about a Meg, and Jason Statham is the star. But it's very strange, and it doesn't feel like a Meg movie. Then you get this movie where it becomes very outlandish science fiction, and not even done well. Not even done well on a B level movie. But the worst offense this movie had, you know, was Skylar Samuels as the villain of the movie, one of the villains of the movie. Uh, her reveal was one of the twists of the movie. Nothing about Skylar Samuels. I like Skylar Samuels. Nothing about Skylar Samuels is threatening, intimidating, or scary because she's just so sweet looking, and that's fine. But don't cast her in a villain role and expect us to believe it. Uh, yeah, just overall crap, and I really hope there is not a Meg 3. Listen, I don't want to hear it. I understand what Ari Aster was trying to do with Beau is Afraid. Listen, I love Ari Aster. I liked Hereditary, Midsummer. They were on my these lists for the best, I think, in their respective years. Um, since he created two hits, he got a blank check. For those of you who don't know, blank check means a director just gets whatever he wants, a passion project that he has been working his way through Hollywood, and his dream would drove him to basically become a director. Now gets to become a reality, and with this, it's pretentious dog shit. It really is, and it's so long. It's 3 hours long. This could have been 2 hours, maybe 220 if I'm being generous, but nothing here is relatable, and everything comes off to try hard, and that includes Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix with this movie and Napoleon, another movie I didn't like, but it is not on here. He just turned up the weirdness to like a 10, and both these characters are not pleasant people. They're not relatable. I don't want to follow these people. I don't care about Beau. So imagine spending 3 hours with him. No, it's just weird for the sake of being weird. There is something to say, but there's no subtlety it would Aster or Phoenix do with this movie. And we always talk about movies that we like and we see as film critics, as myself, or film lovers. And people are always like, "Oh, you probably like this movie because it's weird and different." No, absolutely not. This is the type of movie I will say to my friends who are not into film. I'd be like, "That movie sucks," and don't ever think I like that. I couldn't even imagine how much worse that this would have been. And I'm talking about Mafia Mama. I'm talking about a movie starring Toni Collette, where Toni Collette sucks in this movie. This is like the John Cena, Alison Brie thing. Toni Collette can act. She could do comedy. She could do drama. She can even kind of save a shitty fish out of water comedy or attempted comedy from being a completely unwatchable piece of shit. It still is piece of shit, but since she's there, she is giving it something it needs a lot. But this is not funny. This is not well directed. This is not well written. And worst of all, it is a insult to the mob and the Italians. So steer clear. What is the worst movie that I have seen? If you have been following my videos, it is a recent film I watched, and that's one of the things I do the list for. Not only to see really good films, which I did encounter, but also really bad films, and I want to see how terrible they are. Maybe it's weird. I don't know, but I'm talking about Dicks the musical. So this is an A24 project, and it's their first foray into the musical world, musical genre. And what they've done is they've taken an off-Broadway musical that was entitled Fucking Identical Twins. And it was written and starred Aaron Jackson and Joshua Sharp, who in the film, or in the play, but in the film I'm talking about, they play identical twins, and they don't know they're identical, and they work together, and then they want to get their parents back together, and it's it's okay if you wanted to mock straight people. That's fine. I would love a parody done by a gay person about the straight life and the Wall Street types, because that's what these people are in this film. But this movie is just obnoxious. It's loud. It's not funny. The songs aren't good, and that is because both of those guys. I don't know if that's their real singing voices, but both of those guys have the most irritating voices I have ever heard in a musical. I don't know if that was a joke. If that's a joke, it wasn't funny. It just killed the movie for me. There's a lot of weird, out of left field things happening in this movie, and I feel that they were trying to be controversial, like kind of like John Waters, maybe, but they don't have the style of John Waters at all. They don't have the timing, the comedic, like the comedic timing. It's terrible. It's a terrible movie. I hated this movie, and it was directed by Larry Charles who did Borat. But the one thing that saves this movie is Megan Mullally and Nathan Lane. And like I said in the other review with Tony Collette, that they suck in this movie, but they are giving us some gravitas as like that musical theater background. And they're kind of injecting quality into this film because there was no quality anywhere else in this film. I'm not even going to mention what happens at the end, at that very end, what flies off into the sunset when you're watching the end of this film because it makes no sense. It's stupid. It is really the worst movie I saw, and that is why it is number one on this list. All right, guys. So, did you disagree with me? Maybe one of these 10 is your favorite. Maybe you think about the dicks and you're like, oh, he just didn't get it. You're like, whatever. Or you're saying, like, oh my God, I love this guy. All 10 movies he chose suck. And I'm so happy someone, kind of feels the same way that I do. Let me know. Comment below. X, Instagram, Facebook. Come to the website. We're always doing new stuff with movies, TV, and video games. We also do podcasts. And next time, I will finally be talking about the 10 best movies that I saw in 2023. And unlike this one, it will be a pleasure to talk about it and express my love and geek out on it. Anyway, I am Kevin Muller. Thank you for watching and cheers.